You ever watch 30 tons of bad decisions sink straight into a river, while the HOA president screams on the bank, clutching her phone like it's a lifeline? Because I have. And let me tell you, gravity never takes a bribe. That morning, the sun was barely up, steam curling off my coffee, the world as quiet as a prayer, and I was sure, absolutely sure, I was finally going to get a day without HOA drama. Shows you what I know. My porch faces the river, and from there I could see my bridge, narrow but sturdy, built with my own hands and a permit older than most of the folks across that water. That bridge meant something to me, a line between my world and theirs where peace ended and yard sign nonsense began. I didn't know that was the last morning I'd see it whole. But I heard at first the deep growl of a diesel, not a pickup, not even tractor, bigger, wrong, kind of big. And then, right through the trees, I caught sight of a white cement truck, drums spinning, evergreen HOA logo glaring like a threat. And there she was, Karen Wallace, arms crossed, sunglasses shining, waving the driver forward as if she owned both banks and the sky above. I yelled, but the diesel roar swallowed my voice, and then the bridge itself answered, groaning, then snapping as steel surrendered. In seconds, the center gave out, the truck tilted, and everything disappeared into the muddy brown with a splash that rattled my bones. You want to talk about silence? There's a special kind that hangs right after the world's gone sideways. A hush where all you hear is the water and the sound of your own heartbeat wondering if this is how it all ends. Karen was screaming into her phone, but for once, she wasn't in charge of anything. Now, let me back up a sec, because you need to know this bridge wasn't some rickety footpath. I was a civil engineer for 30 years, culverts, county roads, a bridge or two still standing today. I built mine to last, treated oak, I-beams, every bolt checked twice. It was strong enough for my truck, my tractor, the feed hauler, never for anything heavier. That's why the sign said 5 tons, county approved, not for decoration. And for 15 years, nobody argued. Not until the HOA got new management, the kind that thinks rules are just polite suggestions. Karen Wallace, straight out of Dallas, moved in 3 summers ago, all confidence and perfume, a clipboard always ready. She believed control meant progress, and every inch of riverbank was just another place to plant her flag. First, it was letters about community standards, then complaints about my barn light, the noise from my tractor. I laughed. My land wasn't in their HOA, never would be. But some folks don't see boundaries. When Evergreen decided to build a glass palace of clubhouse, Karen came knocking. "Mister." "Reading," she said, smile a mile wide. "Our contractor says your bridge is the most efficient access." I told her it wasn't, and more importantly, couldn't handle their loads. She laughed, as if I was the punchline. That should have been it, but if you've ever dealt with someone like her, no just means ask again louder. A week later, an email lands in my inbox. Urgent construction access. Will cover any minor wear. I shot back. Access denied. Bridge not rated for heavy equipment. Use the county road. But next thing I know, I'm seeing tire tracks too wide for my truck. Someone's been testing it. So I put up a camera. Next morning, there's video of an HOA truck rolling halfway across and backing out fast. I sent that to Karen with a note. Next time a trespass. Weight limit stands. She calls, voice sugar sweet, knife sharp. "You're being unreasonable, mister." Reading. "The county route adds 6 miles. Not my problem," I told her. "You live here too," she said. "No," I replied. "I live next to you." That's a big difference. When one of my warning signs went missing and turned up in the weeds downstream, I called the sheriff. Deputy Rhodes just smirked. "You in the HOA, huh? They're running out of sense." I welded a steel post dead center of the bridge, chained both ends, put the sign up bigger and redder. And wouldn't you know it, 2 days later, I found a set of expensive heel prints and a Chanel cigarette, but by the post. Folks like Karen don't quit. They just bide their time. Sure enough, I get a letter, official letterhead, HOA seal, accusing me of obstructing a community access structure, demanding I remove barriers or face legal escalation. I laughed, tired, not amused. That bridge was mine, every bolt of it, and my lawyer Grace Hollander had the deed to prove it. "Send me everything," she said, "and don't touch a thing." So I waited. But justice, I've learned, is slower than any lie. One day, 2 engineers show up, clipboard, blueprints here to assess the bridge for temporary load expansion. Under Karen's orders, I told them flat out they were trespassing. Karen was right there, sunglasses and all, telling them this is happening one way or another. So I recorded the whole circus. Grace watched it, said good. Let them hang themselves with paperwork. Meanwhile, word around town was Evergreen's construction was way behind. The rain kept coming, the foundation half poured, and Karen, who'd signed a penalty clause herself, was facing 10 grand a day if she missed the deadline. People say desperate times call for desperate measures. In Karen's world, it just means ignoring every warning and betting you'll get away with it. Thursday morning, cement truck rerouted. Karen promised the dispatcher she had my permission, said the bridge was county maintained, offered the driver a cash bonus. That's how a lie grows legs. On my side of the river, I could feel trouble in the air. The river was quiet, like it was waiting to see who'd blink first. I heard engines, saw the flash of Evergreen's logo, and I knew. By the time I got down there, Karen was already waving the driver forward. He hesitated, good man, probably with a family, until Karen started spinning her story again. It's fine. I've got approval. But once that truck started rolling, no one was stopping it. The bridge groaned, I shouted. The driver braked, but too late. The center dipped, bolt shot loose, and suddenly there was nothing but the screech of metal, a deafening splash, and the awful smell of diesel. Somehow, the driver managed to claw his way out the window, gasping, soaked in mud and river water. I dragged him onto the bank, both of us coughing concrete dust. He looked at me, wild-eyed. She said it was safe. Said you approved it. I just shook my head. There wasn't anything to say. Karen? She bolted, ran for her SUV like she could outrun the consequences. But she left plenty behind. By the time the sheriff got there, the bridge was splinters, the river choked with cement, fish floating belly up. Local news showed up, took photos of the wreckage, the sign, the twisted beams. A reporter asked me what happened. I said, people who ignore warnings learn the hard way. Deputy Carter took my video, watched it twice, and called it what it was, criminal negligence, maybe even reckless endangerment. The driver, Tom Watkins, shook as he gave his statement. She told me I'd lose my job if I didn't. Karen protested, blamed everyone else. Nobody believed her. Then came the twist. Grace found a permit filed by the HOA claiming shared access with a forged signature of mine. She had it checked, and sure enough, Karen, or someone close, had traced my name off an old maintenance form. 2 other board members had co-signed. Conspiracy if the DA wanted to push it. They'd even funneled 25 grand to a shell company for infrastructure improvements. Grace laid it all out. Emails, contracts, every last dirty receipt. The case went to court. Grace handled it like a surgeon, slow and sharp, laying out every forged document, every lie. The judge watched the video, Karen waving the truck forward, me shouting, the collapse. The defense tried to claim misunderstanding, but the judge wasn't having it. This court does not tolerate arrogance disguised as service, she said, and hit the gavel. Evergreen HOA paid for the cleanup, for the new bridge, for every penny I lost. Karen was barred from any leadership role, facing criminal charges on top. The board crumbled. By the end of the month, half the members had resigned, the rest tried to dissolve the HOA. In the end, Evergreen Meadows was just a story people told at the diner, a warning, not a place. Karen moved away, probably hoping her name would fade. But you can't outdrive the truth. The county rebuilt my bridge, stronger this time, double reinforced, steel decking, new sign, reading crossing, 10-ton limit. I threw a cookout the day it opened. Grace brought whiskey, the neighbors brought pie. We toasted not to winning, but to surviving. Sometimes I sit on the porch at sunset, coffee in hand, river rolling past. The new bridge shines in the dusk, and somewhere below, the bones of the old one still rest. Folks drive by, slow down, wave. Even the county engineer said he'd never seen anyone keep better records. Maybe that's what you get after dealing with one too many HOAs. You keep every receipt. People ask if I feel vindicated. I tell them, vindicated's for folks who enjoy being right. I'd rather the bridge had just stood. But here's the thing. You can ignore the sign, but you can't ignore the consequence. That's not just bridges, that's life. So tell me, what would you do if your neighbors try to bulldoze their way across your boundaries? Would you stand firm? Or would you let it slide, hoping the current won't sweep you away? Drop your own stories, your own thoughts on justice below. Maybe, just maybe, the world would be a little safer if more folks respected the sign.